Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray that your word will bring life, transformation, and greatness. Lord, let your word bring a change in the hearts of your people. Thank you because you are God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I want to instruct myself, instruct ministers, and instruct you. I'm setting some precedents that will help us as we run the race. Each time you look into the scripture, you either get a "Thus says the Lord" or you get a lesson to emulate. We shall be looking at the life of a man, a king, and we shall be drawing a lot of insight from the life of that king. And so this morning, by the anointing of the Holy Ghost, I shall be preaching on a message I titled "Once Upon a Time." Am I talking to this church? I said I shall be teaching and preaching on the message I titled "Once Upon a Time." If you did a bit of literature, you have some stories that are comedies and some that are tragedies. The comedies ended in a good style, in a laughing mood, in a joyful, blissful manner, and the tragedies end up in pains and sorrow. And most of these stories, when we sat in the fireside, the narrators of these stories began with this phrase, "Once upon a time." Oftentimes my parents told me stories, and I always like to sit around them so that they tell me stories once upon a time. Some of them were fiction stories. They were not real. They were not events that happened. Others were events that truly happened. Sometimes our parents use proverbial sayings, proverbs, to pass across an instruction. Other times they use these stories to pass across instructions. If you heard me say a big amen. If I could look at the life of Saul the king, I will want to title this message "Once Upon a Time." If you read in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 28 from verse 3 down to 18, it's quite a long passage. I will paraphrase it and then show you the section where to read. 1 Samuel chapter 28 from verse 3. This is a story of a king, the rounding up of a king, the end of a king, and the first king in Israel. It looks like, are you ready for the word of God this morning? The first king in Israel. When Israel left Egypt, they had no king. Moses was not their king. God was their king. And they came to the promised land and they were ruled by judges. Until one day they asked God for a king, just like the other nations. And Samuel warned them and told them some things that go along with kingship or a kingdom. And they insisted and wanted a king. And Saul was selected, ministered to, and given to Israel as a king. But if you look at the story of Saul, it was a mixture of obedience and disobedience. It was a situation of submission to theocracy and imitation of the other kings. Sometimes Saul submitted to the rulership and the ordinance of God. Other times Saul was carried to imitate the Philistine kings, the Amorite kings, and the other kings. So there was always a shuttling between, an oscillation, a jumping in and out of his rulership. God had wanted him to submit under his rulership, under God's rulership. But sometimes influence from other kings so much affected Saul. Sometimes he behaved as an Israeli king under God. Other times he behaved as a heathen king. And there was always problem. He had problems with Samuel, who anointed him king. And it wasn't long, just after a short while, God rejected Saul as king. And when God rejected Saul as king, there was turbulence. The Philistines troubled Saul. They troubled the nation until God raised up David and anointed David as a small boy. Goliath came up. Saul could not confront Goliath because his God has left him. There is something dangerous when God leaves a man. Unbelief and fear lay hold on that man. Are you understanding me? The worst thing that you can lose is not your bank account. The worst thing that you can lose is the assurance that God is with you. And it came a point, Saul did everything to reunite his relationship with God. It's not like God did not want to come back to Saul, but there is a situation, there's a kind of a level where you backslide into that you kind of tell yourself, I will go back to God. But the things you've gotten yourself so stuck inside, the things you've gotten yourself involved, the things that have gotten a grip over you, don't allow you to come back. Sometimes you procrastinate and say, I will come back. I will come back. Sometimes God allows some situations to spur you, to remind you to come back. But some people, when they are triggered, they struggle to come back. But the cares of the world, the desires of the world, draw them back into that pit. This is where Saul found himself. Because God left Saul, Saul jumped into jealousy. He fought against David. Those who brought him victory, he fought against them. When God leaves a man, he tends to fight his immediate environment. When God leaves a man, he doesn't think right. Are you understanding me? When God leaves a nation, that nation does not think right. When God leaves a family, chaos is the order of the day. This is Saul. Saul had come to a point where he began fighting David, the very David that gave him victory. He came to a point that he killed his prophets, he killed his priests. The Spirit of the Lord left him, and an evil spirit came upon Saul. If you look at when Saul began, when they said, where is Saul? Inside the crowd, he hid himself among the storm. He was humble. Someone located him and anointed him. Saul was loyal to God. But this is his end. This was that very Saul who joined a band of prophets and prophesied until they asked, is Saul among the prophets? This was that Saul that attacked the Philistines with Jonathan and discomfited defeated the Philistines because God was with him. I told you last week here or some weeks ago that when there was food, when Elisha gave the prophecy and said, tomorrow a bag of rice shall be sold for 500 at the gate of Samaria, and God had to move in action. And when God moved in action, he raised 4 lepers, and they were coming into the camp of the Philistines, and there was enough food and everything in the camp of the Philistines. And the enemies, the Philistines, heard what? What did they hear? Those who were in church, what did they hear? Chariots. And the chariots were coming, and they began running. But who were the ones walking in the physical? The lepers. But what were they hearing? The chariots. I told you here that it would be stupid for the lepers to think they drove the Philistines. And that is how life is. There is a time when the grace of God increases in the life of a man, and success becomes the order of the day. That he thinks that the success is his making. There is a time that the presence of God surrounds a man, surrounds a girl, and then she feels that the beauty that she carries is her making. There is a time when men clamor around a girl and they want her, and she feels it is her hippo. She begins to mince her steps and feel she's so indispensable. You just need me. She feels like everything around her is about her, not knowing that there is a hidden factor to that success. Amen. You may take first in class, but there are other contributing factors to you making first. Are you understanding me? Saul came to a point that he had successes, and he never knew that there was something, there was a hidden purpose behind his success. And he began to play the worst thing to ever do. The worst thing to the worst thing to ever find yourself is to do wrong things and find positive results. Yay! Nobody heard me. The worst state a man, a woman can ever find himself, a minister can ever find himself, is to do wrong things and have positive results. You are into destruction. When you're a businessman, you insult your customers, they still come. You are dead. Are you understanding me? You are going down the drain. When you are a ruler, you are a pastor, you do wrong things, people still clap. You still find positive results. Let me say something. When you're running with a car and you put the car on, you ignite the car, put it on gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, gear 4, gear 5 on a plane, and finally at gear 5, you put the car on 3 and you off the engine. Does the car immediately stop? No. The fact that the engine is off does not mean the car will stop. Do you hear me? But the fact that the car is running does not mean the engine is on. Give it time. Give it time. One of the things I want to beg you, the fact that you did it and you walk, always check yourself. Is God going with me? Saul took it for granted. I want to rebuke ministers who rate the presence of God with successes around them. No, it is not the sure proof, it's not the surest indicator. The fleet of cars are not the surest indicators that God is with you. Check it. And this is Saul. Suddenly, he began going down the drain. There is something about going down the drain. There is something about going down the drain. There's something about going down the drain that once you start going, it becomes difficult to come back. But in case you find grace to come back, come back. The more you take another step into the drain, it becomes difficult to come back. The deeper you go, the harder it becomes. And the state in which you are, there is a turning back. There is grace for turning back. But if you are turned deeper, it will become more difficult. And this was the state Saul found himself, until they could bring a boy to play guitar for him, to drive off evil spirit. And here, a battle began. The Bible says, there was war, and the Philistines came upon Saul. They gathered to fight. Oh, God used to answer me. Oh, God used to hear me. But today, God doesn't hear me. Saul tried. Who will he call? He had killed a priest who could use the Urim and the Thummim and divine for him and call on God for him. He had killed his prophet, scared everybody who could help him to even hear God. He has broken his relationship with his God. Samuel is dead. He is fighting even the David that can hear God. If you push destiny helpers away from you, you are going to suffer alone. Let me tell you, leaders, destiny helpers are not those that are ahead of you. Even those that are behind you are still destiny helpers. Did you hear me here? A lot of you have very bad characters. I am sorry, I am not being insulting, but a lot of you have very bad characters. There is an evil in your heart telling you that anybody who is valuable in your life is somebody who has more than you have. It's a lie. That is why you like hobnobbing with the rich and abandoning the poor. You like hobnobbing with the great and the moment you pass my level, you smash me. You move on because something is always telling you anybody that can help me must be more than me. You don't know that those that are behind you are there for your support. But when you are falling, they will stand by you. Somebody holla fire. Never be used to investing or being just a blessing to those who are ahead of you. It's good to hook up with the great, but be a blessing to those that are lesser than you. Because in their little quarters, they support you. Little drops of rain will make an ocean. Are you understanding me? The reason I love you, the reason sometimes I take the pains to stay back even after service to pray for you. Sometimes you don't give me anything. Are you understanding me? But your presence matters in my significance. Hello? Your presence matters in my significance. If you are no more, I am not a pastor. Whether you are you carry all troubles on the earth, that is what makes me relevant. So don't push people away from you, because there is a day that you shall need them. Saul came to a point, he did not hear God. Even those who could help him hear God, they were not. And Saul, the Bible says, in the days when Saul was righteous, he passed a righteous decree, and he said, wipe off all the witches, kill all the witches, all the wizards, all the Abraham Malin witches, all the occultists, kill them. And that was righteousness. They killed all of them. But I don't know how the witch at Endor was left. Who left her? And they left a certain witch. The Bible says, in the Exodus, God told the children of Israel, he said, I will not wipe off all the enemies. Because when I wipe off all the enemies and give you the land will grow into bush and you will not be able to occupy. The enemies, lions, will come up and eat. God does not drive all our enemies sometimes. Do you hear? Yes, I'm not preaching you heresy. God does not drive all our enemies all the time. There are some enemies, He will leave them. Do you know what? Sometimes those enemies are there to test you. Hello. They are there to test you. This particular woman, this particular witch at Endor was dead. Why did they not kill this witch? There was a time of testing. And God has stopped answering Saul. And Saul had waited. One of the things I realized in the life of Saul was a spirit of impatience. Saul was always very impatient. He went to make sacrifice. I'm teaching you a whole Bible, a whole chapter book in the Bible. Amen. I'm summarizing it. He went to make sacrifice before the war. Samuel said, wait for me, I'm coming. I will come and make the sacrifice. But he got offended that because you delayed at the 7th day and the people were scattered away from me, he decided to offer the sacrifice, whereas priests were not supposed to offer, our kings were not supposed to offer sacrifices. He pushed himself into an office that was not his because of impatience. God's not too late. God's never too late. I say God is never too late. Even if you don't say amen, look at your neighbor and say God is never too late. I still tell this funny story. I know of a girl in my church some years back in it now that I looked at this girl and I told this girl, wait on God. And she looked at me and said, no, there is a man who wants, an unbeliever I am going out with, who wants to marry me or who wants to have a child with me. He said, my father looked at me and said, will I die like this without seeing your own child? You are the only girl I have. Will I die without seeing your own child? I asked her. I said, will you compromise to please your father? No, she said, Pastor, you cannot understand. You cannot understand. You cannot understand. I went out with that man and caught pregnancy. 2-3 months, the father died without seeing the child that she compromised into. No man is wiser than God. I'm sorry. It looks like all these days my messages I look so solemnized. But no man is wiser than God. Let me give you instruction. No man is wiser than God. Wait on God. You are not smarter than God. And this is Saul. The Bible says, are we there? 1 Samuel chapter 28. Okay, without it. Okay. Read from verse 7 until I tell you to stop. Yes.
Seek me a woman that has a familiar spirit.
Seek me a woman that has a familiar spirit.
That I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that has a familiar spirit at Endor. And Saul disguised himself and put out other women.
Saul disguised himself. He took off the royal apparel, the kingly dress, and he changed. He disguised himself. Continue.
And he went and took men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee.
Yeah.
And the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Saul has done.
Yeah. Stop there. Just wait. The woman said, you know what Saul had done, how he had killed the witches. Who was she talking to? The very Saul. Continue.
How he had kept up those that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then laid thou a snare for my life, to cause me to die. To cause me to die. And Saul swore to her by the Lord, saying, as the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel.
of the earth.
And he said unto her, what sort is he of? And she said, an old man covered up, and he covered with a mantle, and some perceived that it was Samuel. And he stooped with his face to the ground, and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me?
Disquieted me,
To bring me up. And Saul answered, I am so distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me.
And God is departed from me.
And answereth me no more, neither by prophets, nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do.
Okay, stop there. Wave your hand, wave your hand, wave your hand, wave your hand. I say wave your hand. Hello. Can I tell you some things here? How many people like it? Wave your hand if you like it. Okay, listen to me. Let me say these things. The joy of knowing that God answers a man adds confidence in your prayers. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
The joy of knowing that God answers you adds what? Confidence in your prayers. The joy of answered prayers makes people believe you. When you are a pastor, you are a preacher, you pray and God answers. What happens? Your congregation believes you. There are sometimes you make a prophetic declaration, nobody answered an amen. And you're angry that nobody answered an amen because you've made those several declarations like that and nothing happened. It is joyful when God answers you. One of the things we make publicity, which I do, we make publicity. Amen. But let me say this. The greatest publicity is answer prayers. When God answers you, people shall carry the publicity. Did I say something here? And it's my ultimate prayer that God should always answer me. The joy of answered prayers adds to your worship life. When God answers you, you will grow into worship. You will enter into thanksgiving. Praise the Lord, somebody. Yes. I know one man said, unanswered prayers are not as dangerous as unoffered prayers. It is true, but it is very haunting when you pray and God does not answer. Let us see some things. Why did God refuse to answer Saul? Follow with me fast and rush it somewhere. Number one, Saul disobeyed God and despised Samuel, his prophet. Never fight your prophet. Never fight your prophet. Never fight your prophet. While David drew priests and prophets beside him, Saul and benefited from the anointing, Saul slew them. If you want to write 1 Samuel chapter 22 verse 16 to 18. Number two, Saul was constantly being carried by his ability and technical know-how. I have said that. He was always a man in the flesh. He was like Ahab. Number three, Saul never sought God while his kingdom was blossoming. Apostle Suleiman asked this question. If you can pay for it, will you still pray for it? And I like that question. You know why we pray? Do you know why we pray? We pray because it's not working. But if it is working, will you still pray? When you are sick, you pray. When you lack money, you pray. If I make prophetic declarations now of financial opening, do you know why majority of us will shout an amen? Because our pockets are dry. But I want to ask, will you still take instruction from God? Will you still seek his face when all is working? In the days of blossoming, Saul did not seek God. He sought God only as a last resort. Number four, he always dreamt of being and doing like other kings. They were his role models. Amen. And what was the consequences of refusing to seek God? Number one, the Urim and the Thummim, which God gave to Moses and gave to Aaron to use to divine and to know the will of God. The Urim and the Thummim answered for others, but could not answer for Saul. They pulled it out. One day I'll teach you about the Urim and the Thummim. They pulled it out and called on God, and God stopped answering. See, wave your hand to me. Wave your hand. Wave your hand. Listen, the worst state a believer can come is that state that you don't hear God. You don't have any vision. You don't have any dream. You can trust that this is God directing me. Hello. Can I say something? Speed without direction is an auto-directed time bomb. I repeat it again. Speed without direction is dangerous. If you see a man on high speed, don't envy him until you know the direction he's going. There is a saying that some people climb their ladder of success with speed. When they reach the top, they discover the ladder was leaning on the wrong wall. Hey, did you hear me? They climb their ladder of success, but when they reach the top of the ladder, they discover the ladder was really leaning on the wrong wall. What must you do? You must calm down, relocate the ladder, and start climbing. Hello. I said hello. When you come a point where God no more answers you, you have no direction, no revelation, you are in trouble. When God stops answering you, attacks of the devil becomes the order of the day. Saul began being afraid of demons he once cast out. Hello. Let me talk to young ministers here. Let me talk to ministers, male ministers, female ministers. See, the worst thing that can happen to you, one of the most dangerous anointing, is the deliverance anointing. Am I preaching here? I know it's the easiest to enter. Come out, come out, come out, come out, come out, come out. Let me tell you something. The most dangerous anointing to run with is the deliverance anointing. When you run with that anointing and you keep casting out that devil, those devils, keep your life straight. When you reach that point that you think that you can go into sexual immorality, sleep the girls and go on a Sunday and cast out demons from their head. When you reach that point where you think that you can manipulate, lie, cook, and do everything and still shall come out, don't worry. Those demons you are coming out, you are commanding them to come out, they will accumulate for you. I am telling you true stories. They will accumulate, they will reinforce, and they will come after you. Jesus said the enemy comes after me, comes against me, but he has none of his properties in me. That's why you listen to men of God like Dr. Olokoya. He will tell you, I am in the deliverance ministry, but holiness is the key word. Because the same demons you cast out, they will look for an opening. When your life is open, they will come after you. Hello? Are you understanding with somebody? The same demon Saul cast out came after him. The consequences. Let me go faster. In order to keep relevant, Saul sought for a familiar spirit. What's a familiar spirit? A spirit that looks like the original. A spirit that has studied you and can behave like you. What's a familiar spirit? It's a spirit that you can't distinguish between the two if you don't draw closer. Saul sought for a familiar spirit. Let me preach to myself as a man of God. Let me not preach to you listening to me. Let me not preach to the man of God outside there. Let me preach to myself. One danger of the anointing Not the danger of the anointing. One danger in the anointing is that when a minister begins to switch camp, it is not easily identified. Well, nobody will say amen. When a pastor who flowed in the prophetic, flowed in the miraculous, flowed in signs and wonders, begin to switch camp from the camp of light to the camp of the devil, it is not easily noticed. That's the danger the body of Christ is suffering from today. Because what this past glory has gone ahead of him and has covered the clouds. And what are people seeing? They are seeing the past glory. They don't see the slight differences. They don't see the change. You prophesy the same way you used to prophesy, but nobody knows that there is a spirit behind. Nobody knows that there is a demon behind. Nobody knows that there is sin involved in it. When you switch camp, there is similarity, a familiar spirit. And this is Saul. Let me drive you to the point. This is Saul. Saul suddenly switched camp, but nobody knew. And he was looking for a familiar spirit. Let me tell us, men of God, when you switch camp, you will look for your type. Hey, is this crowd tired? Wave your hand, wave your hand, wave your hand. If you switch camp, you look for your type. If you see a holy sister in church, walking in purity, walking in holiness, walking in the love of God, you can detect by her friends. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
I have a witness here. You can detect by her friends. The moment she is carrying a life of immorality, lies telling, and evil, she changes companionship. This one she was not familiar with, she becomes familiar with. If a man of God is walking in purity and holiness, you can see his friends. When there is a question somehow and he's going down the drain, he changes camps. He makes different companies because spirits go together. Birds of a feather, they flock together. Hello, are you understanding me, somebody? Samuel or Saul changed camp, and she went to a woman, and the woman was giving a historic. I preach to myself now. A woman was giving a historic to a man that had changed, and she did not know. She was telling Saul, "Oh, Saul," I was telling, say, "Oh, a righteous man one day purge this land of all witches and wizards. Don't tempt me. Saul will kill me. Don't tempt me. Saul will butcher me. I know what Saul did to witches and wizards." She was in the congregation, never knew Saul had changed. She was in the assembly, not knowing that this man whom he sees is a different one. He has changed. It's not that Saul that used to kill witches. It's not that Saul that used to tell people, no. This is corruption. I am not going to go for it. It's not that Saul that used to look at people and say, I can't bear it. I rather die in my pains than shift it. Something has suddenly changed, and he was still in the company. Something has suddenly changed, but Pastor Saul was still holding the mic. The lady never knew there was a shift. Let me ask a simple question to Christians. I hope, I am afraid that there is somebody who still knows that you are who you were. But it will one day shock him discover. And you know that that person knows things that you are good with. You know it. But you know that you have changed. You know that you are into some issues. But the person does not know. And do you know the worst pain, psychological pain, is to be before somebody who thinks about you in the state you were, and you know you have left that state, but you cannot uncover the story. You will babble with your words. You will play with words. You will try to cover it up. Saul used the old name to cover up a new epoch. But one thing, somebody holla time. I said somebody holla time. I said somebody holla time. Some years ago we went somewhere. My wife, myself, and an elder in the church. I went to the house of one notable. My elder, our elder, and then this notable met. As we came in and we sat and were talking to this man, and then he knew the elder very well. So we just came and he knew the elder very well. And he said, he called a child. He said, go, take bottles. Go. He said, Pastor, what do you take? No, he said, which kind, he asked specifically, which kind of sweet drink do you take? And I said, I spoke. Then my wife spoke. Then while the child was coming to ask elder, which one will you take? The pa shouted, you the ex, you don't know anymore. The elder suddenly turned and said, no, bring me grenadine. So he did not hear. He said, you buy a more time, you don't know anymore. And then he said, and then the pastor said, you don't change now, you don't change now. I look my wife looked me with cross eyes, she go quiet. Never reach at a certain stage in life when you are struggling to cover some things. With time. Somebody holler with time. I said somebody holler with time. I said somebody holler with time. With time, it will be exposed. Amen. Look, he that tells truth does not do recitation. Yes, sir. I will keep saying these things to help you. Man, when they talk true, when they recite, those who keep reciting are those who need to remember the lie they once told in case they ask them the second time. Is that true? Is that true? Tell the truth. When they will ask you the second time, you will say it without premeditating. But he who tells lies will need to do recitation and do memory verse in case he's demanded. And this is Saul. Here, he disguised himself. Saul became a two-faced Gideon. On the throne he had royal robe, but in the dark he had another garment. Let me end here. With time, the woman cried out, "Thou art Saul." When I read that passage, sir, it frightened my heart. With time, the woman cried out, "Thou art Saul." Pray around your neighborhood. And the neighbor said, "Child, this person is spiritual." With time, thou art Saul. Look, cover it the way you want to cover it. Minister the gospel. Do you, thou art Saul. One of the troubles, let me call it troubles with God. Now we the big scheme, God know the big scheme. One of the things about life is time. Everything expires with time. Everything is exposed with time. Everything goes down with time. Everything dilapidates with time. Everything is crumbled with time. Everything changes with time. Thrones are overthrown with time. You can fight anything at the gunpoint. You cannot fight time at the gunpoint. You can kill your brother and gather inheritance. Give something time. There is something about time. Somebody has a time. Time. Young girl, you can compromise it, but it's only for a time. You can hide it, but it's only for a time. You can corset the pregnancy, it's only for a time. I wish when Saul left, if he had to tell this woman his story, what will he say? You quoted my past, but I will tell you the true story. Once upon a time, I was the Saul you quoted. But now, something happened along the line. Something battled me along the line. I made some errors along the line and people warned me. I could not take it. I thought I was smarter than everybody. And I came to this particular point. Once I have known this anointing. Once I have known joy in life. Once I have known riches and beauty. Once I knew God. I heard God so clearly. But it's once upon a time. If you look at my life now, all I can tell my generation, I can warn them of the mistakes I made. Look at me as I round up this message. There are girls sitting and hearing me today. Listen, I like God. And his principles are like a computer, a program. One of the things, if you tap a computer, it gives you option. Yes, no, you choose. Am I talking true? You do what? You choose. He instructs you. Sometimes a computer tells you why you should select yes and still put under yes or no. So that in case you press yes, it came out bad, you have nobody to blame. You remember the message? This is that. In case you read it and you say that one the white man own, you press yes, it came out bad, bear it. When it came out good, do what? Enjoy it. Life gives option. But I want to beg you, I want to beg you this one more time. The worst state is to be in life. Number one is a state where you blame all others except yourself for your calamity. For the errors you consciously and deliberately made, despite all counseling, and then you blamed everyone else except yourself. I will tell you something and I pray for you. At the coolness of the day, When everybody has gone to the farm and you are alone, and the heat of the sun and the birds of the air are chirping, there will be a cool voice in your conscience that shall remind you of the old stories, the killing, the bendedness, that one night you spent with that boy, that time you cooked that man and you collected that thing, the time you did this thing, the time you entered into witchcraft, the time you entered into that evil, the time they instructed you to drop that malice and you refused to drop, that error you did, that at the coolness of time, a voice will remind you. And one thing about this voice, each time you argue, it ceases. And when you are quiet, it comes back. And it still reminds you. And the story is between you and the voice. I say the truth is between you and the voice. You can come to him and you tell him, you don't know my story. If I tell you about this man, I tell you about this man, I tell you about this one, I tell you about how the people made my church to fail, I tell you about this one, I tell you about my wife. You will win the logic when you are all alone. The voice will come back like a thief in the night and remind you where you went to wrong. And the greatest thing is to remain with that voice when nobody is there. I beg you, do right. Don't end life as a minister, a pastor, a preacher, a leader. Don't end with a story. Once upon a time. I will pray. I don't want to be like Saul. Father, reduce my speed. If the speed will involve a lot of errors and wrong direction, reduce my speed. Don't give me anything that will take me away from you. Even if I cry as I cry, don't give me. If the beat for a husband will be the one that will drag me to hell, keep me single. The beat for a wife will be the one that will drag me to hell. Don't give me a wife. If you will take me abroad and I end up becoming once upon a time, keep me in Boya, or more or less take me to Rambo. Give me a life that I will be comfortable with myself. Let me say this last thing and we pray. Give me a life that I will happy with my inner man. I will be happy with my inner self. I will have no debt to pay, no excuses to make, no complaints to make, nothing to explain and try to cover it up. Give me a free life. I don't want to be a slave to myself. I don't want to be a slave to people. I want to have a free life. You know the church is sing for money belle where get free life. How about with this? If you have no story to cover, no malice to keep, no deviation that is chasing you. If other external things are chasing you, there will be inner peace in your life. The worst thing that can happen to you is when external battles meet internal errors. You be die man. Once upon a time. And all ministers who today will tell you, once upon a time. But what is the use? Nothing. Father, people will not learn their rights from my wrongs. When I have become nothing in life, and I could only tell them, don't do what I did. Listen. Me, Reverend Abiga, by the grace of this God who called me, I will never pray the rich man's prayer. Father, send Lazarus. Papa Abraham, send Lazarus. Let him go to my brothers. Because the same way I walked and they told me that I will end up in this place, and I argue, is the same way they are walking, and they will end up where I ended. I will never pray that prayer. I will never be at the wrong end, and I'm warning people so that they should not follow me. Stand to your feet. I like miracles. I like all the abundance, and I'm going to pray for the miraculous. I'm going to pray. I'll pray for you. But how many people heard God here? How many people heard God talking to them? Keep your life. Guard your life. Don't be hasty in life. Don't be hasty in life. Don't be hasty. Don't be hasty. Listen. Listen. It will come. And it will come with time. But in case it did not come, that which is already there is wonderful. Are you understanding me? I will end you with this, my story, as I ask you to pray. One thing that helped me. If you hear my preachings repeatedly, you will know my philosophy. I am not a mediocre. I am not a weakling. But yet, I am a contented somebody. God contented somebody. I strive with all strength to hit my height. In case I don't hit, the only time I look behind is to check how far I have gone and to say thank you, God. I never look behind to cry what I have missed. I look behind to check how far I have gone. I look ahead to check what is still lying ahead of me. I look up to gain grace. One day I was driving all the way from Tombell. I had a Nissan car, new, a strong car. And I said I will bypass every car of the way. I was on a neck-breaking speed, a young driver. I used to be rough, not now. And I drove at neck-breaking speed past camions and people were shouting. I said, no car stands in front of me. And I missed several accidents, and I said nothing stops me from my decision. While entering Boya, there were cars in front of me. If I had lost my life to overtake everybody, I would still meet a car in front of me. Never do evil. Never twist your life in order to get to the top. Because even if you reach at the top, you will see somebody higher than you. Open your mouth and pray. 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 Lord, help me. Help me. I will never be a one.